Hello, my name is Kevin Klehr and I'm the author of lots of fantasy, magical realism, love type stories that aren't particularly romance and a dystopian tale. But today I'd like to read from my novella that's only available electronically, Winter Masquerade. It's a story of Ferris, who you'll hear as first-person narrative in a moment, who has found himself on an enchanted cruise liner called the Sea Queen. The other characters I have to mention in the piece I'm about to read are Scallywag, who's a 10-year-old boy, who's part of the band that play at the Winter Masquerade, and Janus, who is a handbag-size talking horse with wings. So, let's begin. There was a knock at the door. Scallywag let himself in. "Ferris, I have a secret to share with you." I looked to the others. "Well, don't just sit there," said Molly. "Go outside and find out what it is. Then rush back and tell us. I love hearing secrets. Miss Interpret shares the best secrets. Remember when she told us about miscommunication and her pet oyster? And we all decided the oyster was more than just a pet." Janus jumped off my lap and climbed onto the armrest. I followed Scallywag outside. Once again, the deck filled with women. This time, a market brought new life on board. The passengers examined pots of jam and luscious bite-sized cakes. Many oohed as they tasted the samples on display. A stout man with a cape and apron wandered around offering cloth napkins to the women. All of them patted both corners of their mouths with their serviettes before opening the lid on top of the man's hat and placing their used cloth carefully inside. Scallywag grabbed 2 small cherry cheesecakes and found a quiet spot. I crouched to meet Scallywag's eyeline. "I'm from your world," he said. "I thought so. That's where your parents are. And you're trapped here just like me." "Not trapped. I came here. I needed to. Life wasn't good at home." I reached out to hug him, but he pulled away. "I'm okay, Ferris. I'm never going back. Once I found the Sea Queen, I knew our world was not for me. This place becomes you, a ship on a chocolate sea. It's every boy's dream." "What happened to you in your world?" He lost his smile. "Sorry, Scal, don't talk about it if you don't want to." "I was told to share my story with you." "By whom?" "The alchemist. He told me in the dark world. You remember? I was trying to tell you there, but Olive got to me first. But you remember the dark world, only because the alchemist made himself known to me." "Why doesn't he talk to me?" "Because he has to keep you safe from Olive. That's become his priority." "So what is your story?" "One by one, my brothers left home, until I was the only child there. Dad always beat the oldest, so with no one else to buffer me, I was his target." "What did your mum say?" "She never believed us." "But all your brothers left home. She must have known something was up." He gazed out to sea. "Scal, you don't need to talk about this." "Does everyone notice when something is wrong, Ferris?" Even if they don't admit it to themselves, they know. I still wanted to hug him. "And does Ferris know when something is wrong?" His last word echoed. He threw half an eaten cheesecake into the sea. A white chocolate dolphin with a milk chocolate mask leaped and caught the treat in his mouth. I stood and strolled to the edge. More confectionery sea creatures with distinctive masks glided through the ocean as if it was water. But it wasn't, it was chocolate. Further out, two teams of pink whales tossed a lamington back and forth over a sugary volleyball net. The temperature dropped as men and women chatted under the musings of a harp, a guitar, and a drum. Scallywag was no longer with me. Something snug comforted my skin. I wore pyjamas. Black and white striped pyjamas. Warm flannelette pyjamas. I touched the fabric wrapped to the upper half of my face. Silky. My mask was silky. Everyone else was dressed to impress, dancing to Olive's odd reflections, so why am I in pyjamas? Suits of all colours adorned the men, each with a matching mask. The women wore cat suits and bunny ears and police uniforms and any other type of fantasy air, each with a wedding veil covering their faces. The colours on the rainbow sheet broke free from one another and spread throughout the sky, enhancing the canvas with vibrant hues. Then another rainbow sheet appeared with two young people snuggling under it as if comforted by a blanket. There was a presence in the air. A distinct voice hummed gently from somewhere. A chill breeze carried the sound. A female spirit let me know I was safe through her song. You wore the same costume. Janice stood by my side. Intricate zebra stripes were painted on his body, while a spirally horn sat between his ears. A zebra-toned unicorn, I muttered. What did you say? Nothing. I crouched. Can you hear that voice? It's Olive doing what she calls singing. To belong to a man is servitude, Olive's voice screamed like a punk goddess. The women threw off their veils and chucked them into the sea. A towering octopus caught each one, opened its quivering mouth, and chomped them like blobs of chewing gum. A quiet chant murmured on deck. All the women held hands with one another, creating a pattern as complex as a spider web. They vocalised their thoughts, each one reciting different words, yet in the confused wordplay, I heard soul mentioned often. A ghostly mist rose on deck, hiding everyone in sight. When it subsided, the women wore black suits and bow ties, and the men were dressed in cat suits and bunny ears and police uniforms, each with a wedding veil. They waltzed to Olive's harp solo. Cole recited, "Give someone total power and what do you think will happen?" through a megaphone while standing on a battered wooden crate. Camilla and Molly entered, both dressed in crimson. Their stylish dresses could have come from the catwalks of any high-end fashion show. Elegance draped their feminine forms. But it was their hair I couldn't take my eyes off. Molly sprouted on top, resembling a mushroom. She was brunette for this occasion. Camilla's wound itself into a spiral, creating a perfect dome. I didn't know hair could do that. A bright yellow canary perched inside the cage-like strands. The bird balanced on one leg, while the other wrapped itself around a pair of opera glasses. It peered into the folly as these two women danced. And that, my friends, is just a little taste of my ebook novella, Winter Masquerade. Be sure to check it out. Thanks for your time.